In the words of the legendary Luke Ellerman, hello, dog fans, and welcome to the Sound the Siren podcast, because everything matters, including, yes, it's September, but it's that time. We don't fucking lose to no Coug. I don't care if it's September, October, 2 in the morning, 7 in the evening, midnight. We beat that Coug ass. As usual, I am your host, Hooligan 7. I'm joined this evening by Hood Husky, JCap, Johnny Tugs, Darker Knight, signed in tonight as Wazz. How are you gentlemen doing this evening?
Doing good.
Doing well, man.
Doing very good, very good.
Good. Of course, as always, we're on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Sound the Siren UW. Please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to our show. If you're watching on YouTube, please like this video and hit that subscribe button to get notified when we post new content. If you'd like to support Sound the Siren, you can absolutely do so at podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/Sound the Siren pod UW/support. That's also linked on the screen here for your viewing pleasure. Before we get any further, we will also say we're a proud member of the College Huddle. Please check out other members of the College Huddle Podcast Network. But it is, of course, time to do beverages with the video format as I see it. Hood, you are to my immediate right, so you're first. What do you got tonight, bud?
Oh man, we back at it. You know what I'm saying? That diet's gonna disallow me from adult beverages right now. But high quality, you know what I'm saying? H2O. That's what I'm on. Glass number 3 already, so
I need to, but as you guys will discover when I talk about my beverage, I had to partake this evening. JCap, how about you?
I am on a Blackberry White Claw Surge.
Nice.
that's strong.
Shouts DJ, even though you're not here.
Love to DJ.
But hey, a big win from last week is DJ made a prediction and the world didn't end. So
DJ made
you
a
can make more
prediction and
predictions
it actually worked. I think
You're
that was a
safe.
last year
Jinxing us.
curse.
You're safe.
That's a last year Kalen DeBoer curse. We're done with that now. You can make predictions
done.
on the show again.
Man, we have the DP taking the predictions
Pause.
serious, and we got the predictions from DJ. Okay.
We're good. Tugs, how about you, bud? What do you got tonight? I know you're out in the wild a little bit recording tonight, but what are you sipping? Ooh, nice. And Darker Knight, how about you?
Oh man, you know I'm on high quality H2O with a twist. I got some daily greens on here. You know, something that Jonah Coleman's gonna be seeing a lot on Saturday. So had to make it
Hey.
in.
Open green grass. Yep. And I have got a little bit of a straightaway old fashioned in honor of the old fashioned Apple Cup ass whooping that we're about to put on Washington State.
I like that.
So.
Okay.
Decided to class it up a little bit tonight.
I like that. See, now you make me gosh darn it.
You're a gentleman. You're a gentleman. Let's
I'm
go.
a bad influence. I'm a sometimes. But certainly I think it's that time, and certainly there is a whole host of them to discuss this evening, but it is that time for stupid tweets. Who wants to go first? Who's got one that we should call out first?
I will shoot from the hip. It's someone that you interacted with. Hooligan, the Coug Z's or whatever, Cougs, ZZU Coug. What you posted that Wazoo has 3 wins in the last 15. And then he posted that it had nothing to do with the current game, and you were just saying that, you know, with competent coaching, we win that game every year. And he said Jed McMillan Merchant Fish has done nothing at UW except 2 games against Cupcakes. And I want to just speak to the McMillan Merchant, like there aren't 21 other starters on a team that you have to win games with. I find that, you know, he also got to that university because he was recruited by whom, you know, so
Jed Fish.
I don't understand it. And then also too, just kind of holistically, like when people are like, you're not gonna be good, or you didn't have a good like player acquisition offseason because you missed out on Noah Fafita and T-Mac, as if we didn't have 40 plus other players that came in, that had high pedigree too. None obviously that were like T-Mac, but like it just makes no sense. You didn't get these two players, so no, it just don't make no sense.
But yes, the McMillan Merchant commentary is incredibly wow, given that Fish and company were the staff that recruited him to Arizona off of a 1-win season. But that was definitely some stupid tweeting. JCap, Darker Knight, Tugs, you got one?
Yeah, Danny O'Neill.
Yep.
I usually enjoy being a smug and condescending Husky in the week leading up to the Apple Cup. It's a little tougher this year given the way the Cougs were left hung out to dry. I almost think the Huskies deserve to lose this year. Almost. Get that loser shit out of our fan base. Like, what are you even doing here? And then in the reply, he put "Go Dogs" #PurpleRain RAIN. If you are a Husky fan,
like,
you
Danny,
know that
are you trying to don't get me wrong, I appreciate some of his cackling on Say Who Say Pod, like particularly at like Notre Dame's expense and how hard he was rooting for Oregon to lose, but no. Just no.
Not at
like,
all.
are you trying to intentionally antagonize the fan base?
You tried it.
No, this ain't it.
he kind of is, I feel like, intentionally antagonizing the fan base, but he's also like friends with Jim Moore and gets engagement with that whole situation. So I don't know what's up.
Speaking of stupid videos, what was it? I think Jim Moore's prediction was 45-13 Cougs.
I got in on that bet just because it's fun. Fuck that guy though.
That's not a football opinion at all.
Best believe.
Yeah,
when we win on Saturday, the timeline's going to be flooded with a million of sad Jim Moore's face from Apple Cup a couple years ago.
Yep. I'm gonna go next and call it at Drew Coug DP. Must have never taken an economics class. Y'all ask for more money because UW wasted it. Y'all wasted on talent that doesn't pan out and on teams that cannot get the job done while having to buy up coach contracts. It ain't cheap to live in Seattle, Jordan. He's replying to Jordan Reffett. Let's check the record on this one.
That guy's
because UW wasted it. We played in the national championship game last year. Y'all wasted on talent that doesn't pan out. Like a quarterback and 3 receivers that went top 100 in the NFL draft, plus 2 tackles, plus a defensive end, get well soon, Braylon. And buy out coach contracts. Yeah, how many coach contracts have we bought out lately? 1. When we made an internal hire, and I'm going to shout this one again from the rooftops because it's the Cougs and the Ducks' favorite narrative about what's going to happen when Jedd Fisch goes to Florida. Number 1, because we've got some recent events. Does a coach that thinks he's going to be imminently out the door to Florida donate $1 million of his own money to his current institution?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I think
and
not.
if he does, again, the University of Washington still gets, well, in this case, it used to be UW gets $10 million of buyout money. UW still gets that $1 million that he donated and the $10 million of buyout money. So,
not to mention what Florida has to pay in these next 2 years. It's ridiculous.
To buy out Billy Napier.
The Billy Napier buyout would be $25 million this year.
Bro.
Ooh.
Yeah. Florida ain't paying that.
Yeah, no. Just no.
How you gonna pay athletes if you gotta pay that?
Any more stupid tweets, or should we move on into the recap? Oh yeah, go ahead, JCap.
I got one more. I posted earlier this morning, or I guess late last night, a quote tweet of the Digital Dam, saying the irony of being happy about imploding the Mountain West by stealing all their best teams after incessantly bitching about the West Coast teams joining the Big Ten is hilarious. I got a reply from @Pokemon. UW still has a game in New Jersey. We are not the same. You're absolutely right. We are not the same. We will not be spending our conference games playing Fresno State and Boise and Colorado State. We'll be playing Michigan, Big Ten, Ohio State, Like, we're not the same.
Wisconsin,
That isn't the
bro,
burn that you think it is.
What?
Well,
Thanks, man.
Well, and there was speaking of which, there was a great tweet and it pointed out, this is at Lev Akabas, so at LEVAKABAS, who tweeted the new Pac-12 schools are not in the same Pac-12 schools are not in the same stratosphere financially as the departed members. UW is in the all the way upper right corner of the graph in both revenue and expenses. Hopefully, at a certain point, we're going to continue to see our revenue outpace our expenses.
Yeah.
But literally everyone was like, the Beavers are actually, San Diego State had the highest revenue Beaver of the WAC 12, the WAC 6, but I'm going to be calling it the WAC 12 because that's what it is. The Beavers had the highest amount of expenses, but like Colorado State, Boise State, and Fresno State were all the way down here.
Sheesh.
We are not the same.
Funny, they took the 4 biggest markets.
They're still going to be G5 level, bro. Like, the teams aren't going to be good enough.
Boise State's good, but
I tweeted
San
earlier
Diego
today.
State struggled. I don't remember who San Diego State played last weekend, but they struggled. Like, they didn't score at all.
Yeah,
They played Oregon State, didn't they?
Yeah, that's...
And Boise State's just not the same Boise State. Like, I mean, what Boise State?
I tweeted earlier today. They Oregon State and Washington State, among the 6 new Pac schools, boast the 4th and 5th best winning percentages all time of those 6 schools.
Stop. Stop. You want to see a dead body? That's crazy,
I
bro.
see several, actually.
No
Fresno
way.
State, Boise State, San Diego State all have federal.
I hope they get like North Dakota State or something. That'd be kind of a good thing for like.
I don't think North Dakota State has the money, but
yeah.
The other funny thing is, like, I don't think it'll happen, but the ultimate, because they signed the grant of rights, but the ultimate funniest thing that in recorded history that could happen would be for Cal and Stanford to come back, given Cal and Stanford's even bigger academic elitism than the rest of the Pac-12, and then all of a sudden they're in the same conference,
join up with
San Diego
Boise
State
and San Diego State,
Washington State, like party schools. Like,
I mean, shoot, they might, because the ACC might implode too. No?
And Fresno and Clemson dip out of there. I mean, Florida State. Jesus Christ! What is
I
wrong?
was like,
well, Fresno State's actually got a winning record.
Yeah, valid.
So, let's go ahead and move on into our recap of Eastern Michigan. First, we'll talk about the things that we liked, and then we'll talk about the helmet stickers after that. But who wants to go first in terms of what they saw from the Eastern Michigan contest this past Saturday at Husky Stadium?
I will say, just the front 4 play really got me excited. Once again, I think I've kind of mentioned it, ad nauseum. It's just how we rarely saw, like plays in the backfield, since 2019, maybe kind of sort of 2020 short season with UCF, but we rarely saw, like, especially from the interior defensive line, we rarely saw penetration from those guys. So I'll say that's a big takeaway on defense. Furthermore, once again, kind of beating a dead horse, but the versatility and utilization of Alfonso Supatala, ridiculous. You know what I mean? A lot of people were super excited to see Carson Bruner this year, and really to see the person that took kind of that leadership role and that next step at that linebacker spot, in my opinion, so far has been so tough. And then I'll say on the back end, at this point, like, you guys know I love DBs, man. Holy cow. They're all over 6 feet. I obviously, I love the trash talk, so I love seeing them target that. Like, that's the wrong person to get into the game, and by targeting him, you get him mentally into the game. So I've been loving to see that. Offensively, I will say, I feel like the first 2 games, just in general, we have kind of started off slow. So that seems to be more of like a preparation thing, kind of coming into the game, and your script is either mid or it's not fitting the personnel you have, or your guys aren't coming ready. And once again, like I said, we just came from a staff that was extremely detail oriented, so it's a little bit of what's happening here. But super exciting about this staff. They make adjustments, which we also haven't been used to for a while. But they make adjustments, and once they get going, they're going. So really really excited to see Will kind of get into a rhythm, and Will's body language too. The throw to Decker, if you watched kind of Will's body language, he was like, "I'm that guy, bro. Like, I'm that guy." So I was excited to see that because I feel like he may feel like there's a lot on his shoulders, and there may be a lot of pressure. And to feel like other young guys are stepping up and things like that, it makes your job feel a little easier. So, yeah, I'll give you guys the floor. There's a ton to talk about, but yeah.
No, I mean, I absolutely think that those are some great points. And think about the pressure that's on Will Rogers to replace Michael Penix, who is a generational quarterback at the University of Washington. But I think like the more we see Will Rogers, like he's a rhythm guy, and you get him a couple of completions, and then he can just start to feel it, and like it's kind of it's a wrap from there, and it's a wrap from there in a really good way. Like I mean, it was slightly outside, but even the ball, like I don't have any problem with the ball that he threw to Jeremiah that ended up along the sideline, like that, because that was either Jeremiah's going to make a great catch and get 1 foot in, or it's an incompletion, but that's not going to be a negative play going the other way. The ball to Decker was great, right on the money on the throw to Giles on that crucial 4th down conversion to really get the offense started. Yeah, I'd like to see us come out of the gates a little faster, of course. For a little bit of that first quarter and change, it was like, are we doing the ASU thing from last year all over again? That's what that felt like. And then we converted that 4th down, and then immediately hit that Decker play down the sideline. I'm like, okay, we're good. We're rolling. But I will say, certainly, big shouts to even in the midst of while the offense was having a little bit of an encounter with the struggle monster or the turf monster in Will's case on that rollout to start a drive. Defense locked it down. Made, Eastern Michigan had 1st and goal at the 3. Made basically incremental progress, and then Carson Bruner absolutely blasted Cole Snyder into next week on the 4th down. Like, we fine, we good.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, what Hood was saying about starting slow. Eastern Michigan was just coming off a game where they had 6 sacks, and it felt like they were coming in ready to rush the passer, and to come out and throw the ball 3 times seemed a little bit out of character for what you should have been expecting for that game. Like, they came in ready to rush, and you have Jonah Coleman, who went for 127 and 3 touchdowns in the previous game, and you didn't run him 1 time on the opening drive, seemed a little crazy to me. But like Hood said, I mean, we're going to make adjustments, and we didn't see that too much from the last staff. I mean, most of the 5 of us were together at the Apple Cup, and we were screaming to make some adjustments, and we didn't see hardly none of that with the last staff. But this staff seems ready to make adjustments on the fly pretty quickly.
To quote Shakespeare, or to modify a quote from Shakespeare, I believe that I was yelling, "My kingdom for a slant!"
All last year, though, it was just like the middle of.
I don't think I've ever been at a game with somebody who turned around and yelled at the booth. But that was
Who did that?
You.
That's unconscionable. I don't remember that. I wasn't that drunk. That wasn't me. To quote Shaggy, another poet.
That's a urban philosopher.
Oh my god.
Go ahead, Kellen. I know sorry, Darker Knight. Go ahead.
No, I'm just piggybacking off what JCap said. I think what he said was perfect. I think the idea of what Jed wanted to do, because I believe their main weakness was their secondary, was to come out and throw and be aggressive. But your bell cow's your running back, and to set the tone with physicality, I think that first drive, we should have just ran the ball down their throat. I mean, you got a running back that's averaging 8 yards a carry. Use your run to set up your pass. So it was just disappointing in the beginning to kind of see us start out so slow again, with hopes that we would, speed up the process. I think it was a mixture of a lot of different things. I think, one, the script. Two, I think it took Will a little bit to get into the game. You can kind of see he was tight. And it was, for me, it was like the tale of two halves. You know what I mean? So, that, especially after that first drive, he ran off the field, and I really wanted to see the interaction between him and Jed. And you could just see him and Jed were talking, and Will just kind of looked unsure of something. But as the game started to progress, especially in the second half, you seen less talking. So you could tell they're starting to get aligned and what they're seeing and what they're calling. So that was great. As usual, I mean, I expect our defense to do that now. It's no longer just a hope; it's an expectation for me. Seeing them for 2 weeks, I think they could play that physical and that violent and versatile against whoever is on the schedule. So them being able to back up the offense or the special teams, especially after a block punt, with miscues everywhere, offense not doing them any favors, getting them short fields or, not allowing the sustained drive, especially in that first half, which is frustrating, but the defense having their back and, keeping 7 off the board, just holding them to 3 or turning them over on downs, bodes well, especially heading into this Saturday. So I'm feeling good. I feel like the offense started to get a rhythm. You kind of seen, where we could be, and you start to see more playmakers start to get their hands on the ball and make more of an impact, which I expect moving forward. So I feel like, we're going to put it all together.
One thing that I definitely want to just kind of piggyback off of what you said, Dark Knight, is, as you guys were all talking, one thing that I was just like, how did I even forget was, I guess I said it in many ways, but the defense is an attacking defense. Holy hell. Like, you're not sitting and waiting to see what the offense is doing. You're dictating the game. I think what, man, I don't have it in front of me, but did you guys all see the graphic where we have like the highest blitz rate out of like every team in the big or something like that? Like
60
I think we're
percent.
second through 2 weeks, but we were top this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. So it's attacking, and like on that fourth down play, if you can just kind of like envision, I'd say the Oregon play, which was a success where, Bo Nix is rolling out, in that, you still had 4 or 5, or sorry, a lot of the like back 7 were feet in the end zone. So they were like playing it safe. Man, they hiked the ball. Carson splitting the A gap. That's a whole different approach to the game. You know what I mean? So I would say like, the standard is understood. I think you have like the all about the W type thing. I think the standard is really going to be understood and embraced by the staff, and you can just see it, in the way they play in defense. And then I'm trying to really read like, DC Steve Belichick's face a lot and like figure out if he's like trying to figure out the college game or if he's in
Good fucking
control,
luck, bro.
And he just seems so like you can't really get a read on him, and they show him a lot.
Very Billy.
He's always just kind of like he look, yeah, exactly. He looks so confused all the time. Like, this is hard, but it's easy, but it's easy, but it's hard, but it's like this is fun, but it's kind of like hard, but it's like it's a weird like yeah. But anyway, I love the way that he has his guys dialed in, and you're not really seeing like blown coverages. You know what I mean? And you're doing all of this stuff, and you're not seeing blown coverages. I was mentioning pre-show how they have a lot of movement after the snap. There was one play where McHale was single high, and I believe it was Cam Broussard was in the box. And at the snap, McHale sprints to the line of scrimmage and blitzes, and Cam Broussard goes and runs and is the single high. That's ridiculous stuff that we weren't seeing even last year, and last year was an NFL scheme as well. So,
Not necessarily a good NFL scheme on the defensive side of the ball, but an NFL scheme. Tugs, we haven't heard from you, but any thoughts on what you saw or from what you've seen at the Eastern Michigan game?
No, I just No, I got no thoughts on it right now. I wasn't able to get caught up and watch the game yet. So
All good.
Yeah.
All good. All right, let's move on in. Or any other thoughts on the Eastern Michigan game before we give out some purple helmets? All right, let's do it. JCap, you're to my right now. As I look at the screen, go ahead. Who gets yours on the defensive side?
Defensive side, I'm going to have to go Zach Durfee. I mean, 2.5 sacks in your, fourth game, second game at Husky Stadium. It's kind of hard to not pick him. I mean, Hood mentioned Tupatala, mentioned Carson Bruner. Both of them are very deserving. And I mean, dog of the week went to Javon Parker. But it's kind of hard to not give your purple helmet to the guy with 2.5 sacks. And I mean, he was so close to having a huge game against Weber State. And to see him actually get home and get to the quarterback in the second game and actually influence the game in a much bigger way. I think
one of them off a stunt or a switch or something where he came up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, does anybody have a different defensive purple helmet, or is this one, can we just call this one a unanimous selection?
I got one. I actually do. And see, and it has things to do with your fingers too, what you're going to see. Dark and I know what I'm talking about. Elijah Jackson, man.
Yeah.
I really feel like, people had this understanding of him coming into the season, and I don't have off the top of my head whether or not he had any like production, but when he was targeted, it was PBU, or I did see a few reps where dudes couldn't even get into their routes. And then I make the joke that he's the most nonchalant corner and the most nonchalant celebrator. He hits his little incomplete or the finger wag. And it's the funniest thing ever. Like people hitting him in his helmet. Good job. So I think he that's my purple sticker there.
As far as production, I just have the box score up in front. He was credited with 2 PBUs and 4 tackles in this game.
Come on, see? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He
definitely played well. I think I saw something where he was top 5 or top 6 this past week in terms of defensive back grades. Either I don't remember if that was in
PFF had him. PFF had him. I think top 5 DBs in the Big Ten this weekend.
Yeah. It's like 83 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not returning anybody though, you guys. There's nobody coming back, bro.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy how he gets forgotten about. Because I mean, Ephesians transfers in. Everyone talks about Thad because he's a big personality on the field. That it feels like EJ is kind of a forgotten player on this defense in a lot of people's view. Not necessarily from people like us that talk about it all the time, but like from what you see in terms of engagement online, perception. It's crazy that nobody is talking about the guy that literally made the play to send us to the Natty.
That's what like CFB media likes, is they like to see it versus a team like Texas or versus those types of, and you don't even get to, they're returning the guy that I didn't hear that narrative once. Like I heard him mention him as a starter, but I never heard like, man, he shut down Adonai Mitchell, because he shut down Adonai Mitchell. And one thing I haven't really paid attention to, and it's kind of unfortunate, been off my game, but I haven't been seeing who's been playing to the field and who's been playing to the boundary. But it seems like there's a lot of space for people to work on EJ. And it's not happening. I think one of those PBUs, I actually remember one of those PBUs, the announcer was like, oh, and he had a lot of space. He was kind of confused about what the defense was, because they were bringing a bunch of pressure, and he had a ton of space. So the receiver had a ton of space to work with and didn't make the play. I think that one hand.
It's crazy because both of these broadcasts so far on Big Ten Network have mentioned like 20 or 22 starters left, or 21, whatever. But no one talks about the ones that were the starters that stayed here. And I mean, EJ is one of those guys that, again, nobody's talking about from a national perspective.
Or not even just the starters, but just the significant contributors that came back.
Yeah.
And
I mean
Landon played
Bruner,
9 games.
Yeah.
McHale doesn't get mentioned at all. Like, it's ridiculous.
Zotu.
So too.
Or
But
to reiterate the point that we made a couple weeks ago, or that I made a couple weeks ago, then it also doesn't count Ephesians, Jonah, who literally started for this staff.
I want to shout out the development of Alenius and Javon as well.
yes, sir.
Giving
Good
us
call.
body types and a presence and athleticism that we haven't had in the interior.
Elenius Davis is going
Since
to
I
be
can
special,
remember.
bro.
Probably since Tank Johnson, honestly. That we haven't had in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, Vita's another story.
I mean,
but
Vita
I'm just saying
Vea
with
and
their
Greg Gaines
specific
Body
types. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah, that's
they're
right.
not a mountain,
Yeah.
but they can move mountains, if that makes sense. But yeah, just having the athleticism and the agility to go sideline to sideline if they need to, or they can run through you, get quick, split a gap, control, and still not get blocked and stay maintained on that block. And man, it was just kind of beauty to see us playing on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, as Hood had said earlier. Us kind of taking our defensive scheme and our defensive mentality to the offense instead of catching and hoping that the second level or the third level is going to make a play. And the defensive line just went hunt. And you can tell that's the mentality.
Nope.
No matter who's in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I will also call out one thing before we flip over to the purple helmet on the offensive side of the ball. And Hood, I gotta shout you out because you sent a couple of pictures I know you weren't able to make it to the game on Saturday. I appreciated your commentary in the GCs and some of the screen caps that you picked up of the work that the offensive line was doing, particularly in pass pro, where there were basically like like jeans and khakis fresh out the dryer. There were some clean pockets, some clean ass pockets, and I will also.
But I'm not a rapper.
I got to bring the jokes.
Bro.
Hey, that was a bar.
That was fire.
That was fire, bro.
But I will also, I don't remember exactly the play, but I also got to give a quick shout out to Will Rogers. There was one where there was actually a little pressure coming from around the edges, and he just basically picture perfect made a step up into the pocket. It was a conversion to Jeremiah across the middle, where Will just perfectly climbed the pocket, found Jeremiah across the middle, converted first down, move the chains, keep the drive going. Some really encouraging things from the offense. Certainly, Jonah is a dude. Like, I honestly thought Jonah was gone on that 64-yarder. I said I was actually at the game with my parents, and I was like, when I saw him break into the open, I was like, oh, bye-bye. We'll win, bye-bye. But that's not a criticism. It was just unexpected. Really an encouraging. Once the offense got rolling, it was a super encouraging offensive performance all the way around. But I'll go first on the purple helmet on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm going to give it to Will. Once he got rolling, he found a really nice rhythm, made some beautiful throws. You could certainly win with quarterback play like that. JCap, how about you? Purple helmet offense.
Yeah, I would agree with Will. He played really well, but the reason that I give him the purple helmet is because pretty much in that first quarter, everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. And the poise to not get frazzled with the block punt or falling down on the boot or some off-target throws like the third down to Kalecki, which would have been a third down conversion. He missed the throw. Or even on the first play of the game, he threw it wide of Jonah, and he just kind of locked in, settled in, and trusted the process and the preparation for the game, and ended up with obviously a really good performance. So I give him the purple helmet, not necessarily just because of the play, but because of the poise through the adversity.
I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna give it to two people. And it's crazy because Hooligan and I definitely think alike when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And it's I'm gonna give it to two. I'll say guard Memilar in regards to his run blocking. On that long run, the athleticism he displayed. If you guys want to watch that play, he gets to the second level, but if I remember correctly, he had to get through traffic. So he kind of like, you can see him jump off the ground a little bit to get through the traffic and to get to the next level. So you can see the athleticism there. And then he was sticky on the second level without holding. And then to the second person, I'm going to give that to Sione Solo. I felt like his first quarter, or to JCap's point, Eastern Michigan had a lot of success pass rushing. And I do feel like the first quarter, in our GCs and, casual conversation, we were like, man, like, he feels like he's getting beat a little bit, But as the game progressed, he was one of the strengths in the passing game. So, and then you can actually see him, in rewatching the game, you can actually see him trying to implement a lot of a lot of the drilling. So he's trying to chop arms. He was trying different things so much during the game just to try to see what would work, see what works for his strength, his length, his body size. Working against kind of smaller guys, because obviously we get in the conference, they're going to be bigger guys. He probably can have more success with, but these kind of smaller dudes, you see like Idaho and Oregon kind of issues, but these kind of smaller dudes. So I'm gonna give it to guard when it comes to the run blocking, and then Solo when it comes to kind of settling in and allowing that comfort for Will moving forward, second quarter and on. So those are my two.
He's gonna be nice once he really, really develops. He's gonna be nice. I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna be a little different. I'm gonna get mine to Jeremiah. Welcome to the 2024 season.
That was my runner-up.
That was his production was needed. His impact and his presence is needed, especially as we start to move into more difficult games. Being able to, have defense, be able to worry about both sides of the field now. Being able to move him around, whether he's X or the Z. Making an impact using his big body, 5 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown. You kind of see, it was kind of cool to see him getting the rhythm of the game. And at the same time, it opened a lot of things up underneath for Will. She noticed the passing lanes were clear. And I think that's just going to benefit us moving forward. So my hat's off to Jeremiah, and I need to see double that production this Saturday.
Yep. And I think we might.
Double. Let's go.
I do want to call out one more play that bodes very, very well for the future, and that's that Williams to Williams connection up the home sideline.
That was so nice.
Great ball, great route, nice catch by Rashid. Don't sleep on that Williams to Williams connection. There's special things that happen with guys named Williams that play at the University of Washington.
Man.
Let's go. And
Williams
before we get into the next segment, I'd be remiss to let
can't move mountains.
I'd be remiss to let but yeah, I'd be remiss to let the purple helmet segment go and not mention Decker DeGraff. Dude had at the time 2 catches for 2 touchdowns, and for a true freshman to come in and produce like that at that level, and to earn the trust of the coaching staff, especially when your senior leader in that room goes down with an injury, to be the trusted guy to go to on a play like that is huge and bodes very well. Yeah, exactly. Bodes very well for the future in the tight end room at Washington. So shout out to Decker DeGraff, honorable mention, purple helmet.
And then if you see when he posted on Instagram, just all the teammates and the way they responded to him and stuff like that. You could just kind of see he's probably he's super young, but you can see they respect the swag, and it takes a little bit, for the white boy to get some, get that respect, but they respect the swag, I mean, I think it was Jeremiah Hunter that commented something like, Decker's celebration gonna show out every time. So it must be something common. He must be in practice he must be in practice doing that stuff. So,
well, I think Coach, I don't remember whether it was during the coach's show or in the post-game interview, they Coach Fish was asked about Decker, and the comment was that when you ask Decker a question or say something to him, some of the time he doesn't necessarily answer, he just laughs. And he's just he's got that vibe. He's just not like a wet behind the ears, just happy to be here, but like really just enjoying and present in the moment and having fun with it. And that's a great vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was mentioning, like, I think on maybe the TL or in the group chat about how when he alligator armed that pass, when he went to the sideline, Papa wasn't mad. He was just trolling him. He was like, bro, he was just, and they both were laughing at it. So you can tell it's like, you're going to learn, bro. You know what I mean? You're going to have to take some of those hits, you know what I'm saying? And he's already a bigger body. And on that deep pass, you can see him playing through contact.
Yep.
He's already a bigger body to be so young. He's going to put on at least 15 to 25 more pounds. And when he starts to separate himself by being that blocker, that's that next level, that next level tight end. So,
and I'm not saying that he shouldn't have caught it, but that was also the fact that wasn't a changeup or a slider. That was
that was Will's fastball.
That was Will's
for
fastball
sure.
on that one.
That was the heater.
That was right down Broadway. But let's
also,
go ahead and moving.
The last thing on that is getting true freshmen involved in the game. I mean, all these young guys and 2025, 2026 recruits that want to come to Washington. I mean, you're going to get on the field. I mean, DeMond's on the field. Decker's on the field. I mean, dudes are getting on the field. Audric Harris was on the field. Adam Muhammad got some touches. I hope he gets more against Washington State for sure. But, I mean, these young guys are getting run. So, those 2025 guys, you know where to go.
Yep. Before we get to the breakdown and the preview of Washington State, it's time to make some big predictions. First up on the docket is a 9 a.m. What I will think is going to be a likely absolute bloodbath at Camp Randall. Number 4 Alabama travels to Wisconsin. Alabama is a 16-point favorite with the over/under at 50.5. I'll go first on this one. Tide's gonna roll.
Yeah. I don't think it's really all that close. I think 16's a little nice.
I'm going to be surprised if Wisconsin scores 16 points.
I think it should be 21. The line should be 20 and a half, 21 and a half. But Alabama rolls easily.
Take Alabama and the points. And this will be a 2s and 3s game going into the fourth quarter.
I agree, man. I don't really see too much, consistency, I would say, in Alabama. I think this is going to be just like an out athlete type of game. But I also, it's tough. Like, I think Wisconsin keeps it within that 16. So I do think it's going to be a little bit closer. I think it may be like a 2-score game, but maybe 14 or 10. I just don't know if I don't know if I can trust Alabama like firing on all cylinders right now. A lot of their skill players are inexperienced in being relied on. And you can kind of see experience is kind of winning these games in the past 2-3 years or 2-3 seasons. You know what I mean? So Wisconsin has a little bit more experience on offense, on defense. They do have like slower zone and diminutive like corners. So that's potentially where they can be taken advantage of. But I think this is a game that's going to be a little bit tighter early on, maybe 2-3 quarters. And then you may get that second possession up by Bama late. So I think it's going to be closer than people think.
Yeah,
the Tide's going to roll.
Yeah, Luke Fickell will not let Milroe run. So he will have to show he can pass in this game. He may be able to get some plays off broken coverage.
He's like the anti-Bo Nix and Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can throw for sure.
Deep down the field, and Gabriel and Nix can't do anything if it's not 5 yards. Shouts to Bo and 4.
Catching strays.
That stat line against Seattle this weekend was hilarious. Hilarious, dude.
His pass chart is fire.
Yeah. Shouts to all the Duck
drop
fans
off
that
from
were
10
trying to
yards.
clown Mike Penix for not starting. And I'm like, sometimes not starting is better than starting.
The drop off at 10 yards is generationally bad.
Like, is he even looking at the field beyond 10 yards?
He is, but
Bro.
I mean, his weapons are, they're not separation guys,
And
Yeah.
Devin Witherspoon and Tyrell Dodson gifted him 2 PBUs that should have been picks.
Mhm.
His stat line would have been so much worse.
So you're saying instead of AK-47s,
Shouts
he
again
got
to
pepper
Troy
spray out
Franklin, who
there
got
at
beat out by
receiver.
Devon Vele. Speaking of lack of separation, guys. All right, let's another 9:00 kick. This one on the Big Ten Network. Arkansas State travels to the Big House to face Michigan, fresh off their ass kicking at the hands of Texas.
That's a nice way to
Michigan
put
is
it.
a 23-point favorite with the over/under at 47.5. I don't think Arkansas State is good. I think Michigan wins this, but my strongest feeling on this one is the under.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it sounds like Jack
Davis-Warren.
Tuttle may get the start. He's been hurt all year. He is a transfer from Indiana, so they may have a little bit better play at QB, but not much better than what they have. When you got 3 guys starting 2 games,
in college football,
that tells you all you need to know about the quarterback position. They're not explosive at all on the outside, and I would dare to say that Arkansas State may have better athleticism in the secondary than they have on the perimeter. So unless Michigan's just planning to run the ball 40-plus times, I think Arkansas State actually will be within that point spread.
Bro, Michigan only has 17 plays of 10 yards or more so far this season. They're second to last in the Power 4, only above UCLA, who's only played 1 game.
Oh,
It's bad.
Michigan is
what is
bad.
Washington bringing back? Blah,
Oh my God.
blah, blah.
Fresno State
Is Arkansas going to do the funniest thing ever?
Arkansas State has the opportunity to do the
it's not
funniest
even
thing
Arkansas.
ever.
It's Arkansas State.
Or Arkansas State?
Arkansas
yeah,
State has the opportunity
That
to do
would
the
Fresno
funniest
State
thing
needed
ever.
to get off the
And
field. They went man across the board. Michigan didn't know what to do. That's all you need to know.
And yet Michigan was the team that was ranked in the top 10, and Washington wasn't ranked at all.
That's all. You need.
also, shout out to the College Huddle top 25 ranking for having Washington ranked this week.
Yeah, I saw
Word
it.
to the College Huddle.
The network.
All go ahead, Hood.
Arkansas
We all
State
picked
winning
Michigan,
that,
right?
bro.
Did we all pick Michigan?
I'm not gonna do that.
I'm
I got
gonna
Michigan by 3 at the buzzer.
bet you they glad they ain't playing Northern
I'm taking
Illinois. Yeah,
Arkansas State.
They've got a good kicker. They do have a good kicker.
I'm taking Arkansas.
You're
You
taking
got
Arkansas State?
Tugs?
Yeah,
Let's go.
I'm taking Arkansas State.
I got them too. I'm on that train with you because I almost said it, and then I was like, nah. I got Arkansas State. Arkansas State has a crazy schedule too. Like their schedule crazy tough.
Taking them.
I mean, on paper, but I got them. I got it, bro. I'm taking it, bro. I'm doing it.
Let's
They're
go.
2-0.
And-
Momentum. I'm doing it.
And
just
And for the
don't see-
listeners,
I don't
we're starting to
see
track
Michigan
our
pulling
picks
away
here.
from a team this year. They're just not good enough.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
No.
And then, JK, what were you saying?
I was just saying for the listeners, we're gonna start tracking these big predictions
mine.
here. I'll keep a chart.
Please,
See
Take
what's
a note.
please, and
See what's
carrot,
up.
bro. Please,
CC it.
please.
All of it.
We'll check in next week.
See, yeah,
I might
see how we did.
throw some polls on the Twitter TL and let the fans decide one too. Have a little side column for the fans too. We'll see what's
Michigan
Who's the
needs
worst
to. They need
prognosticator?
this
Who's the
game
best
not to be close for
prognosticator?
confidence sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
up. I don't know their
And-
schedule. Who's their first conference game after Arkansas
It
State?
don't
Does
matter.
anyone know?
They suck.
yes, it does.
I mean, they played.
Is it Oregon?
They have
They had
USC next week.
USC.
Oh, they have USC. Oh,
Got
Yes,
to play
bro.
us. They still got to play Oregon.
Let me go get my
and then
belt,
they got Ohio State at the end,
bro.
bro.
Hey, JCap, it's gonna be
Yes,
talk.
sir.
They're gonna be talking every time they get swat. Don't you ever, bro? They gonna be pulled up.
They're going to be looking for Mr. Brightside and not finding him.
There's no bright spot.
Yes, sir.
Nobody gonna
What
be
is
singing.
this shit? Don't you know we're the national champions?
It's gonna be
tell it to the
maize
judge.
and blues.
They better
For a while
Maize and
before it
blues.
gets vacated.
Pound the Stallions back in the booth.
He
Before
could
they
have run a
vacate that
16-0
championship.
loss in his first game as a head
Put him in the
coach.
student section.
Bro,
High
we
something.
hate Michigan, man.
Dude,
We
Connor
hate
Stalions
Michigan.
a Hawk fan?
Yeah, I was about to say, ain't no way Connor Stallion's a Seahawks fan.
Whoa.
Anyone watch that documentary?
Oh. This
All
is
right.
the rivalry. I need this to be the new rivalry right here, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Boot up
Let's
Michigan?
move on.
I'm
here
So
for
we're
it.
not-
Next
So
game.
we're not here until the kickoff on Saturday.
Next game.
The last of the 9 o'clock kicks, or the other 9 o'clock kick on Saturday morning, and this one's on Peacock. And it is Central Michigan traveling to Illinois, fresh off their upset win of Kansas. Illinois is an 18.5-point favorite, over and under.
It's Illinois.
Illinois take the over.
48.5. Yep.
It's Illinois.
Yep. Illinois take
on.
the over, over the total as well. I think Illinois blows them out.
12:30 on Fox. Oregon facing a former Pac-12, now WAC-6 rival in Corvallis. Oregon is a 16.5-point favorite. Over under at 49.5. Oregon has shown some difficulty stopping small running backs, or I mean, certainly, obviously, I don't think Jam Griffin or Oregon State's running backs are Aston Ginty, but I don't think Oregon covers. Like, I haven't, from what I've seen from the Ducks, I don't think Oregon covers that. I think they win, but I think it's another game where going into the following week, there's still questions outstanding about the Oregon Ducks.
Oregon State's top 5 in the country in rushing, right? I believe so.
Yep.
Give me Oregon State by a field goal.
Oh,
Hey.
I think they're going to
I'm
be
a-
able to.
I'm a
I
line
love
that
that
way. I was
because
gonna
it's like
say-
everybody's.
I give you a breakdown. They're going to be able to control the clock with the running game. They're going to keep Oregon's offense off the field, and when the Oregon's offense is on the field, they're going to press. Something Dylan Gabriel's not good at. You get him behind and where he has to come back, he is not good. He's going to have to dunk, and
here's
they're
hoping
going to
the
need to
Beavers
take
can-
shots, and I think Oregon State can force turnovers.
How's the Beaver special teams kickoff and punt return coverage?
Right?
Because if
Oh,
Christ, man. Boise State could have made
Boise
that so
got
much
Ryan.
easier on themselves.
Yeah.
I didn't know Oregon can
But
drop
I mean,
the ball at the 1
what-
yard line and still get 6 points, but
Well,
Granted,
they recovered
you know,
it.
Washington
they
didn't
recovered
pick it up in the end zone.
They recovered.
Yeah, that's why they didn't
was
even
actually in
bother.
the stats credited with that touchdown.
Yeah,
But
Jay Lamar probably got that touchdown. But yeah.
But what Darker Knight was saying, I mean, if you got to take shots, I mean, we all watched, or at least most of us watched that game against Boise, and there was an opportunity for Dylan to hit 2 or 3 deep touchdowns back to back and missed both of them. Bro can't throw a deep ball to save his life. So, I mean, if that is the situation, then yeah, I'll say give me Oregon State by a touchdown.
I'm right there with you. I got Oregon State by a touchdown, or I'll say 6. I feel like though, Oregon State will lean on them all game. I do feel like Dylan will have that kind of dink and dunk success. I just think, and also too, Oregon State's. I mean, I don't know statistically how they performing on the back end, but I just know they're Oregon's athletes are legit on the outside. So I feel like if they can kind of get the ball in their hands, I do feel like Oregon to have more success. But Oregon's not really having too much. I'll say locker room feels like they're struggling with being front runners. Like there's a lot of people that were on Oregon last year and the previous year that had a lot to prove. And I feel like this year there's a lot of guys who went there and for I wouldn't say necessarily the clout, but it kind of was more about that than it was about football. Bo Nix went there to play football. Dylan Gabriel knows that he's going to struggle at the next level. So did he go there to play football or did he go there because it was the biggest stage, XYZ? So I think a lot of people went there, expecting I'm not going to say the gifts, but the aura of the program and those types of things. And Dan's going to have to really reel that in. And I don't think that they get it. I don't think they get it done right now. I think conference play may be a little bit different when they can kind of transition the way they're playing the game. But yeah, I think Oregon State has this one by 6.
Jabbar.
Yeah, and
Slow.
Oregon's always the media darling, and
Yeah.
even Herb Street was saying today that Oregon doesn't have the same hunger or drive that they showed last year. So
Bees by 10.
Dang,
10.
unanimous.
Let's go.
Bees by 10.
Tugs. I love it.
Hooligans
I'm here
like,
for
damn
it.
it.
Hooligans
I'm
like,
gonna
I
be
gotta
the one
pick the
guy picking the
Ducks.
Ducks to win. I am, but you know what? If I'm wrong, I'll be very happy to admit that I was wrong on this one. I will also shout out, like, I think it was the Say Who Say Pod, and I think it was Christian that pointed it out on this week's episode about, like, Washington also was a team with expectations last year and played Boise State that would, ultimately ended up winning the Mountain West. Everybody remember what Washington did to Boise State last year?
Fuck out of them.
We struggled. We had it was a game we had a slow start on offense. The offense got held scoreless in the first quarter, and we won 56-19.
And that was a much better version of that team with a better quarterback who's doing some big things that are.
Taylor Green's cooking, bro. Taylor Green is.
People don't know who
cooking.
Taylor Green is. Go check him out.
We had a much tougher team last year that we played. I do feel like, and also too, Ashton Jeanty wasn't having so much success running the ball. They had to give him the ball in the pass game to hit their explosives. So, and we didn't even have necessarily a great, run defense. So, really
Didn't have a great anything defense.
We didn't have a great defense, period, last year. Like,
and also too, Boise State does not have and this is what I thought going into the game. Boise State doesn't have a good pass defense. And you aren't able to pass on it? Like, anyway. Well, that's crazy.
They hit a couple of explosives. And the other thing is Boise State did everything, in addition to the kick return and the punt return. They went away from handing the ball to Ashton Jeanty down the stretch.
Dude, that was so dumb.
I tweeted it out after the game. I mean, Georgia Southern scored 45 offensive points on Boise, and Oregon, with Heisman hopeful Dylan Gabriel, scored 23. Like, what are we fucking doing here?
That's the locker room, bro.
Genty's a beast, though. Oh my god!
If you think Dylan Gabriel is still a candidate for that award, you are high, man.
Yeah, there was one Heisman hopeful on the field that day, and it was not Dylan Gabriel.
Yep. All right, let's move along to another interesting game. This one's on CBS and Paramount, a 12:30 p.m. Pacific kick in West Lafayette. Notre Dame number 18 Notre Dame traveling to Purdue after losing to the Huskies. Unfortunately, not the Washington Huskies. We still need to get them sometime. Notre Dame is a 9.5-point favorite, over under at 47.5.
They're not losing coming off of that NIU game. Give me Notre Dame by 5.
I disagree with you. Purdue gets this one.
Hmm?
That sounds like a confidence, JCap.
Purdue wins it by at least a tutty.
Did you say?
And JCap said 5.
Damn.
JCap said 5 points.
I said 5
We're
points.
not losing this. I got Notre Dame by 5.
They'll find a way. They'll find a way. That's what I'm saying. They'll find a way. They're not going to.
For Marcus Freeman's sake.
I like Marcus Freeman too, bro. Like,
Well,
I like Marcus Freeman too. So.
I like Marcus Freeman too. That's
Yeah.
kind of. I might be a little biased because I like Marcus Freeman a lot.
Yeah,
Me too, bro.
I do too.
I do.
Saying that, Purdue
If they lose this one, it
Right.
confirms what I said this
But
weekend.
how much Tugs?
3.
Yep.
Purdue
Notre
wins by
Dame loses
Purdue wins by 3.
I could see that.
Ooh, all right. Tugs, you're on my team with this one. Yeah, all right.
I got Purdue by 2 possessions.
Damn.
I got
Let's
Purdue
go.
by 2 possessions. Their
Bro.
offense. So the Ryan Walters should be getting the love and the publicity that somebody like Marcus Freeman is. Purdue was one of my teams Purdue and Indiana were 2 of my teams coming into this year that I felt like had, I don't care about recruiting rankings and all that kind of stuff. They had 2 of the best portal classes that fit what they do. The positions that they needed, the types of players they needed in those spots fit exactly what they needed to do. So I got Purdue by 10, 13, 14. Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, I got
Darker Knight.
God, I hope that.
I think Purdue
I hope that
wins comfortably.
Jeez. Wow, y'all got me out on an island here, bro.
Yeah, I think Northern Illinois took Notre Dame. So I just saw you watched them
You
walk
know
off the
what?
field. That was a defeated team, literally and figuratively. You don't come
You
back
know
from that
what?
after just 1 week. No.
Oh my
You know
god!
what?
I like how you said they took their soul.
Yeah.
I don't even think it has anything to do with, personally, I don't think it's going to have anything to do with last week. I think Purdue is the better
Yeah,
team
that
this
too.
year.
But you're just not going to, when the other team comes in there knowing that they just watched a team that was inferior do what they did. No. They're going to play with a totally different confidence against you. That's all.
All right. This one doesn't. The next one does not have a line. It's a 12:30 game on the Big Ten Network. Prairie View A&M traveling to Michigan State. Michigan State wins.
Yeah.
Aiden
Same.
Childs and
Michigan
Nick Marsh
State
going to
wins.
do stupid things to Prairie View A&M.
Michigan State win this one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get your check, Prairie View.
Another 12:30 game on the Big Ten Network. Nevada traveling into Huntington Bank Stadium in Minneapolis to face the Gophers. Minnesota is a 17.5 point favorite. 44.5 is the over/under. I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here, and I'm going to take Nevada straight up. Wins this one.
Hey.
That's crazy. Bro, I was thinking this is the game that I felt like Minnesota was kind of going to get in some form of a groove. Like, it's weird. Like, I do think, was it Brosmer? I think he had decent, game management skills. I love their 1-2 punch at running back. And then they do kind of hit their explosives every now and then. I kind of felt like this was the first 2 weeks. It's not really been super, super smooth sailing, but I felt like this was going to be the time where they kind of hit that groove. I got Minnesota, but I got Minnesota by a possession. So 3, 6, 7, something like that. Close game, though.
Yeah. What was over under on that game?
Minnesota minus 17.5.
And over under is 44.5.
Yeah, I think they go over the 44.5.
Yeah, I think I'd take that. I'd say Minnesota wins. Both teams will score.
Oh, this is a tough one. I want to take Nevada, but I'm gonna go Minnesota.
Oh,
I'm gonna go on this one.
Nevada has Austin Hartnell, so I'm rooting for Austin Hartnell to get busy.
There you go. I think I'm gonna go to Nevada too by 7.
I love this, bro. Like, this is college football, bro. Like, these games are so 50-50 now this year.
They are so 50-50, and I mean, it might not have any bearing on this game, but I have this feeling that Nevada is going to take the fact that they weren't taken in the new WAC 6 kind of personal in the first game coming out. So I think they'll come out and come out firing.
6 is crazy.
Hooligan need to TM that, so they got to come pay him when they try to change.
Hooligan, yeah, for sure. Put that out on the TL so that
I have it's out there. I called it the WAC 12, but also the WAC 6. A 1:00 kick on Fox Sports 1. Troy traveling into Kinnick Stadium. Iowa is a 23-point favorite. Over under at 39.5. Iowa wins. Ain't no way in Sam hell they cover 23 points.
No.
The under.
Do they score 14 points?
Yeah, they'll be fine with that.
I think in the not too distant future, you might start hearing some Iowa fans start chanting Kirk Firance, because he is hamstringing that program.
You're out of
But
let's go. That's what we're here for.
But yeah, Iowa wins, doesn't cover, and the under.
I agree. I think they don't cover. but I do think I'm taking the over the 3.5. Iowa's offense has been the most pleasant surprise, in my opinion. I think they did struggle last week to score, but they struggled really to move the ball. I felt like one guy preseason that I was really really high on was their running back Caleb Johnson, and if you watch these 2 weeks, I think he might be top 5, top 8 rushing. Because there a lot of them are explosives. You know what I mean? I think he was suspended for like the first quarter or something in one game. But if Iowa leaned on him in the Iowa State game the way they should have, they wouldn't have been able to come back and win that game. You know what I mean? So I think that was a little bit more of mismanagement. But it is a statement that you lose to a significantly inferior team like Iowa State. So I do think that Iowa this year, unlike last year, can kind of get clipped by these. By randos. But I do have Iowa winning this one. I do have them winning by less than the 21.5, and I have it over 38.5.
Yeah, Iowa doesn't have a quarterback. I think their defense outscores their offense, and Iowa covers.
JCap?
Yeah, give me Iowa. I'll take the under, but give me Iowa. And I was looking it up there that Iowa's running back is 4th in the country in rushing yards right now.
Bro, and if you watch the actual runs, bro, like, dog, he filthy. Caleb is fit. And their backup 2 running backs are very good, too. He just took the spot.
Yeah. But yeah, give me Iowa by 7.
That's a good call.
Tugs?
He said he's taking
muted,
Iowa by 7 and taking them to cover.
Okay.
I read your list, right? That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
Come on, look. It's called active listening.
Or watching.
Watch.
Bro read his lips.
All right. Another game with no spread because it's an FCS versus an FBS. Northern Iowa goes to Nebraska at 4:30 on the Big Ten Network. Nebraska.
We don't got to spend much time on that.
But get that corn butter. Tell them to take their chicken. Go the short drive back home. But that's gonna be a shellacking.
Yeah, no.
Belt ass.
Next one
Patrick
again
Mahomes
a 4:30. This one follows our game on Peacock.
On the
yeah.
Where you watching your game this weekend?
Oh my god. Off the rails, bro.
It's on NBC and the Cock. It's Indiana at the Rose Bowl.
You see the fellas.
I think Indiana fans might outnumber UCLA fans at this one. Indiana is a 3-point favorite on the road at the Rose Bowl, over under at 45.5. I think this is the Hoosiers. I think they cover, and I think they win by a couple of touchdowns, if not more.
Yeah,
Man.
UCLA is bad.
Yeah.
Bro,
UCLA is bad.
Indiana gonna score 45.5 by themselves.
Yeah.
So over that, and then the was it -3? Shit, that's gonna be -23. They gonna blow the brakes off these boys.
Yeah, I think
And I like HBCU UCLA. So
I think Indiana's coming with pallbearers. They're gonna get the eulogy and the benediction. They dropping them roses on UCLA. This game's gonna be a
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. All
Jesus
Hoosiers.
Christ.
All Hoosiers.
Yeah, we don't got to waste time on that.
oh yeah,
If this is
I love
Alright.
but
would it though?
Maybe.
we'll just call this basketball on grass.
Slightly.
Another one with no spread that we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on. Eastern Illinois traveling to Northwestern for 4:30 kick on the Big Ten Network. I think Northwestern wins.
Traveling to Northwestern's 15,000 seat stadium.
Yeah. Is that the fighting Tony Romo?
I don't think they
That's
particularly
really embarrassing, bro.
I got Northwestern. in a field goal kicking contest.
Soccer style kicker.
All right. Final one that is not our game is a 5:00 game on the ACC network, and that's Maryland traveling to Virginia. Maryland is the 2.5 point favorite. Over under at 57.5. I think saw good things for Maryland in week 1.
Yep.
They turned around and lost to Michigan State, who did not play particularly well last week. I'm going to go with one of my buddies from the GC and the Message Board Geniuses podcast, and I'm going to ride with the Cavaliers. And shout out to you who's at Who's Football. I got Virginia in this one by a field goal.
Yeah, Maryland is probably the most frustrating team, and they probably will be that moving forward. They have a significant amount of talent on their offense and their defense. I think offensively, they probably have a top 3 trio wide receiver in the country, plus the tight end Preston Howard. I don't know how they're not, I mean, I guess they are moving the ball. I don't know how they didn't score, more on Michigan State. Billy Edwards is actually kind of playing pretty well, too. So it was just a weird game. I got Maryland in this, and I do think they kind of get into more of a rhythm. I think they are just far too athletic for Virginia. So I do have Maryland covering. I'll have them actually by 10 or more. I do think it's going to be under 57.5. I don't really trust Virginia to score enough to get there, but I think Maryland will do their part on that scoring for sure.
Yeah, I think Maryland wins. Virginia has a really good defense, but I think Maryland has enough athletes and talent to kind of pull out a close win.
I got Virginia by 6.
Here,
I'll take the under.
Fear the turtle. Fear the turtle. Terrapin's a turtle. Maryland rolls.
That's my favorite analysis of the night so far.
Fear the Terrapin.
Yeah.
Here goes the fun one.
I don't know, unless the turtle in question is named Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, or Raphael, I ain't going to fear it. So,
what about Franklin?
Hey, that's the G right there. And the dude from Nemo, and that's where it stopped.
Crush?
The funny thing is, you know what Maryland's mascot's name is?
Yeah.
No.
Testudo.
Bruh.
Nah,
come on, dog.
I ain't
that
fucking with that.
Down a rabbit hole, bro. I'm going to leave that alone.
I ain't fucking with that.
I'm leaving that alone, bro.
All right.
Tortuga.
Yeah, let's I hear they have good rum there.
Let's go.
All right, let's talk Apple Cup. It's 12:30 on Peacock. Huskies are a 4.5 point favorite. Over under is 56.5.
Ooh.
My Michelle.
Stop.
What do we think about what we're going to see this Saturday?
I got, I'll say, that 55.5 is like right at a sweet spot. So that's a little tough. I'll say, I got under that. I think Washington will do their part, getting to between, 28 to 35. I think Wazoo is definitely going to have a little bit harder time to score. So I do think under the 55. I'm looking at this, minus 4.5, and I just look at it once again as like disrespect. Like it's kind of ridiculous. Like, what do you think Wazoo is? You know what I mean? Like, and what do you think Washington is? And this is the 4.5 is crazy, man. Especially in Seattle, neutral field.
Neutral.
Yeah, right, neutral. I think Fish was like, I wish he was at home, but
Yeah, I was just listening to that presser
We
right
had
before
to
we
kind of
started here.
concede this a little bit, which I get it. I get the politics of it, but I actually have I got Washington by at least 2 possessions. I do think that this is the game where you know there's a lot of emotions that are going to go into this. I think Washington players seem to be looking at this as the worst combination is you feeling confident, um, and you being like driven at the same time. It's a different thing when you're like you feel like you're overconfident, you kind of come out flat, etc. Like I feel like we came out flat kind of last week, but um, there's a difference between being confident and coming out flat. I think they are coming
Well,
out
this game last year.
this game last year, right? I think you have the perfect combination of this where there's a little bit to prove. The offseason was, I think the players definitely felt a lot of that animus. I don't think it was a lot player to player, but just the overarching narratives were just like, UW's this bad guy, bad guy, bad guy. And I think it definitely resonated from the fans to the players for sure. So I think this is a physical game on our side. And I think they just do not match the physicality and the intensity. I'll use like a boxing reference in this. Like whenever anybody fights Bud Crawford, it's fun for 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds, and then he puts a big sociopathic smile on his face and steps up the intensity. Can you match it? No. Then that's when that's when you end up getting the knockout punches. So I do think that, when it comes to maybe late second, early third, the middle eight, I think that's when you start to see us really kind of, pull away. I think there might be like a big hit on John, or I think his first name, John Mateer. I think there might be a couple big hits on him where it's like, okay, this is a very different game. I think he turns the ball over. A lot of his throws versus Texas Tech were really like somebody down there, I think. So I definitely feel like this is a game where we get to showcase a lot of our NFL talent on defense. So,
Yep.
Yeah, piggyback off what his said. I get Texas Tech let them run for 197 yards. I don't know how they can't split D or fence down there. But facing the team with this type of physicality and speed, I just think they're going to make it a point to hit John from beginning to end, and discourage him from running, especially setting edge. And he's just a wildly inaccurate passer. I think he was like 9-19 for like 111 yards passing last week.
And one of them was 37 or 39 yards.
I'm not worried
which
about
meant
them.
Like the rest were like 8 of 18 for like 80 yards.
I'm not worried about them through the air, which is crazy because that was almost the reverse stop last year where they had Cam Ward and, a bunch of receivers. You thought about them throwing the ball all over the field where we didn't have that type of confidence in the secondary. But now flip it to this season where you already know your strengths of the defense and of the team. I think up front we can win. Just kind of looking at a couple of their games this year. And I think that, they have weaknesses all over the defense. So you hear players talk leading up to the game and they're not saying anything derogative, but I think in their head they know what's going to happen on Saturday. Like I know what's going to happen on Saturday. So I got the Dogs winning 44-16. And I think, this is the game where you'll see some really exciting demand packages that kind of throw stuff in the mix.
Yep. Yeah, I'll jump in. I agree with you, with both of you. I think the Cougs can have some success against the defense for a while. I think certainly Mateer is a good enough runner. Again, I don't know what, kind of in the vein of what we were paying Bob Gregory to do on the recruiting trail. I think that was certainly Lee Marks over the last year and a half. I'm not sure what he was doing here. And because I think Wayshawn Parker is a really good player that they have at a young guy that they've got at the running back position. And I think that they are going to gain some yards. But where I would be concerned from a Cougar fan perspective, to the point that you were making, Hood, is I think Mateer is a good enough athlete where he will contain a few times against us. And that will be a little bit of a frustration point for us as Husky fans, where the accumulation of hits is going to wear down, is him getting into the second level and into the teeth of Carson Bruner, Alfonso Tupatala, Brian Parham, and those guys are not exactly shy about the old hit stick. That's going to make him a little more reticent to be like, hey, I'm going to break the pocket and try and run for as much as I can. And I think you're going to see us make a concerted effort, certainly, to stop the running game, whether that's 6 or 7 guys in the box, and certainly the flexibility package is bringing pressure from different places. But I also think that they're going to try and throw the ball to open more running for that up, and I don't think that's a recipe for success against our secondary. And then on the other side of the ball, I don't really see anything on their defense that scares me at all. Like, yes, a lot of Portland
Their
State's
D-line is
yards were
supposed to be scary, right?
Best
Something
he's
Will
ever
Rogers
seen.
never seen before in his life.
Will Rogers never seen a D line like that. Never mind the fact that he played in the SEC for his entire career before this year.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Coug's gonna Coug, or Coug's gonna make Coug statements. Yeah, this is a game where Jonah's gonna, like, yes, some of the yards they gave up to Portland State were in garbage time. Jonah Coleman, Cam Davis, and Adam Muhammad are going to run and run some more and run some more and run some more. I think we might end up having, like, I don't think any one of them is going to have a Chris Polk against the Cougs day, but I very much think you could see that three-headed monster that we have at the running back position have a Chris Polk cumulative day where we run for 280, and it's like, oh, look, there's a Washington running back 15 yards downfield with a head of steam and and still going. I think we're going to see that a lot, and that's certainly also going to open some things up. I think we're going to be very balanced again. I'd be shocked if we don't gain over 450 yards of total offense against this team. I don't think it's particularly close, and my score call on this one is Dogs 41, Cougs 13.
Oh, whiskey. I love that, dog. I love
keep
that.
Mateer in the pocket, rally to everything, you'll be fine. And then on offense, I told you earlier, there's a lot of green grass, right? Yeah, utilize that. Feed the ball early and often, make statement drives, run the ball down their throat, spread the field out, and do what we do, man.
I mean,
we have yet to play above a C game. Just think about that. Think about how sloppy the quarters have been. We have not put quarters together. We've looked great some quarters, and one side of the ball, imagine them putting the whole game together.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Well, and the last point that I'm going to make is that I made this point. It's like the Cougars have 3 wins in this game in 15 years. Their 3 wins: 2008 to Tyrone Willingham, who gift wrapped the game to them. Right. Drunk Sark. Like, actually at the time, like, I don't think he was drunk at the game, Sark, but
no, he was.
It was before.
Probably.
It was before Sark got cleaned up. And Jimmy Lake.
Sam Heward's first career.
You mean Bob Gregory? Bob Gregory.
Yeah, Bob Gregory. It wasn't Jimmy Lake. You're right. It was Bob Gregory. Like,
that's crazy.
Sam Heward.
Hey,
Jed Fish is not one of those 3 football coaches.
One thing to keep it a buck, bro, is I don't think we're gonna contain Mateer as much as we think. I mean,
I don't think we're gonna contain him.
Yeah,
But I think Cam Fab and Justin Harrington are going to come up and hit them.
So
that's what I'm saying is, like, the accumulation of hits is ultimately going to wear him down, and where it's like they're gonna make some noise on us early, but running against this defense also opens you up to get hit by this defense.
Well, I also think it's the type of defense Texas Tech played against them too. There's a lot of times they were in like a 3-2-6, and then so they really didn't have. They had boxes, but then they had guys that covering grass. There was nobody containing, so they were kind of giving him free lanes to run. Or this, you're going to have the line of scrimmage, like, we're going to dare you to throw, and so go ahead. You want to run, you're going to run right into something purple. Go ahead and run, because that's what Belichick's going to do. He's going to take away what you like to do well.
I think primarily, I agree with I agree with that. I think primarily you get him. You're gonna win him. You're gonna win versus him pre-snap and post-snap. Obviously, having pre-snap change from what you see post-snap. Because I don't think he, is able to read defenses really well at this point. I think one thing that I definitely respect is specifically watching him, and this, Dark Knight is there is a level of athleticism that just kind of wins sometimes. And when you're able to put, a three-step juke move together at full speed, and that's a different level of an athlete. And I wouldn't say that we've like played good enough teams that challenge our tackling. And you see how we kind of sort of struggled to tackle that big running back at Eastern Michigan. So when dudes are strong runners, when dudes are agile, we just don't know what that looks like yet. So I think for us, we're just really gonna have to confuse him pre-snap, post-snap, so he doesn't know where those run lanes are gonna be. And then I was mentioning pre-show, and then obviously a little earlier about how I feel like we're gonna run a lot of Cam Broussard, a lot of Jordan Shaw, and a lot of Cam Fab off that edge to help run support, because I do think you're gonna have you kind of want to have your I think they're gonna have their edges kind of crash a little bit more. So that's kind of what we saw last week. So I do think you're gonna have a lot of DBs involved in the run game. Zotup involved in the run game. I do think you see a lot more of like them playing around with their fronts, just to kind of confuse him, a lot of stunts and things like that. So he doesn't know where the running lanes are post snap. But I think you really are going to have to trick him, because he's, in my opinion, he's the only person, him and Kyle Williams are the only people on their offense like you really need to respect. So yeah. I'm high on this.
They do got a little freshman running back that try to swing the ball too. He runs some low. He's pretty fast. I guess he runs the 10-200 meters. But they try to do swing screens and stuff to him. A lot of their stuff is, if they're not throwing it lateral, that's kind of like the mistake Texas Tech made too. All their offense was lateral. There was nothing intermediate down the field late. And so it was.
And if you look at Mateer's touchdown pass, I believe it was to Kyle Williams. It was a corner. It was underthrown, and the DB PBU'd it, and it was Kyle Williams caught it. So I do think the inaccuracy is definitely gonna, and that's why I was like, this has to be a big NFL game. Sack fumbles. Get Durfee involved with that type of thing. Play the ball. I think this is a game for Thad, a game for EJ, a game for Jordan Shaw. Jordan Shaw's a ridiculous ball hawk, as we heard coming out of fall and spring. So I think this is a game where if you're a DB that really plays the ball, this is a game for you. That bad boy is going to loft up in the air this game. So just make a play on the ball. So. You're muted, Hooligan. And my picture's over yours, so I can't reach.
Tugs, what you got?
Yeah, Tugs, what do you think, buddy?
I think Jonah Coleman's gonna run wild. 150 plus. My heart says 200. Muhammad 100. Rogers is gonna go for over 200, 250. I think it's gonna be a bloodbath. I don't think their defense is that good, so
that's perfect. I think you're right, bro. Like 250 plus rushing and about 200, 250 passing.
I think it's going to be a heavy running game. That's all I was saying. I think it's going to be you're going to see a lot of green grass and a lot of folks going backwards. You're going to see some business decisions on that defense. Trying to tackle them thighs for 4 quarters. Jonah Coleman.
Dude, Coleman's a beast.
Coleman's a beast, and let's not forget the pictures that we saw of Cam Davis before last season and this season. Like, that dude's Quadzilla.
His upper body is finally matching his lower body too. Like, Cam is a problem to tackle, and then just how explosive Adam is too, man. Like,
and Adam's just tiny for a freshman. Just
run is going to open up so much in the pass where you're going to have those one-on-ones, those 50-50 balls with Denzel and Jeremiah that we've been wanting to see. You're going to see that in this game because they're going to have to bring everybody in the box. You have to.
Another thing too is I'm just really curious. if the crowd impacts the game in any way, because we generally won't have that home field advantage. You know what I mean? So I'm just really curious how, if at all, that impacts the game. I don't think emotionally we're gonna need any firing up.
Agreed.
But I think that extra oomph of Husky Stadium would have done us well here. But I think this year, I think we win this either on the road or.
Yeah, I agree. Tugs,
Tugs,
what's
you
your
got a
score?
prediction?
48-16.
Damn.
I like it.
Damn.
All right, JCap.
Yeah, I think this past Sunday, Lumen Field got a little warm up of the pre-Bo Nix special before we get to see John Mateer. 9 of 19 for 115 is crazy. I think we'll probably see something similar. But I think that we outgained them by 300 yards in this game. I think.
Well, I like that.
I think Jonah Coleman, Cam Davis, Adam Muhammad, hell, give Daniel Ngata some carries at the end of this game. I think we rush for 300 plus. I think Will throws for 200. I think this is a 3 touchdown on the ground game. I'm going to go with the Dogs 45-13 in this game. Word to Jim Moore.
Ooh, y'all got 40 burgers. I don't know if I gave a number. I'll say I got 34-17. 34-13. I don't know how much they're going to score. I'll say 34-13.
Yeah, because I think the other, I like that, and I think part of it is also like I think they're going to be able to move the ball, but I think the other thing that we've seen from this defense is I think the closer we get into the red zone and backed up, like the less space there are with these corners, and we buckle things up on again, Eastern Michigan, who had a running back that gave us some problems in longer fields, not huge problems, but got solid gains. They had first and goal from the 3, and had 4th and goal from like the 1 3/4. Like it was all in shorter field and not a whole lot of progress being made. And I'm sorry, but yeah, Wayshawn Parker's faster and John Mateer's a better runner than Cole Snyder, but
they haven't
not as much
faced anything
in that area of the field.
Cole Snyder's a better quarterback too. Cole Snyder's a better quarterback than
way more seasons. True.
Facts.
Yeah. And I mean, we haven't even talked about the fact that this defensive line gave up 215 yards on the ground to Portland State. Like Jonah Coleman and Adam Muhammad are going to eat this defensive line for lunch and then dinner and then a midnight snack again. Like,
so that's why I was saying. So that's why I got the score more like 28-34. Only because I think this is gonna be like maybe the score doesn't reflect it, but I think we're gonna milk the clock like unintentionally.
Ball control, offense.
I think this game is gonna hurt Wazoo. Like it may not be like this crazy blowout on the for the score, but it's gonna feel like it was an ass whooping. You know what I mean? Like
I think the run helps. I think establishing the run early helps us start fast as well. Instead of having these slow starts.
Like I mentioned earlier in the Eastern Michigan recap, like I said, like coming out of that game and not running the ball with Jonah Coleman one time on the first drive is crazy. So I think I want to see Jonah Coleman get at least 2 rushes on the first series would be ideal.
I haven't even looked at their corners, man. Like I don't even know what they're doing out there, bro.
You don't need to.
Well,
I'm telling you right now, I watched. Ain't it?
Well, the other thing to keep an eye on, and like JCap, where I kind of agree with you about us getting to 300, you know who's going to have probably about 30 or 40 yards in this one? Damon Williams.
That's a nice one.
That's kind of facts.
I'm about to start calling him Ski Skirt.
Just don't fumble it this time.
Can he get a snap? I mean, my goodness. Landon.
I know we had something good cooked up.
Landon playing rugby.
That play clean.
Yeah, you had Demond in the first quarter. That's crazy. roll the snap 10 yards behind him.
I just really want to. I see the aggression in the defense. These were the 2 weeks to kind of get your turnovers up. To kind of rep. I mean,
Well, they
I
dropped
didn't see
picks,
Durfee doing too much. Like I didn't see Durfee doing too much of this or too much of this, or it was just, oh my god, I got a sack. Oh shit, okay. It was like he's still kind of moving fast. And then also what the Cam Broussard and was it Mikhail like running into each other for the interception?
Pat, I think.
Okay,
Don't worry.
and then Parham was the only one who got a turnover, and it was like a chase down play for an explosive. So I really, really want this game to be the game where, because I think the opportunities are definitely going to be there. Because the emotions are going to be high. People are going to be trying to make big plays. Like I think this is the game where you have to really, really display like what the talent is on this team moving forward into big play.
I think the defensive line is going to cause at least 2. And the secondary is going to either cause, there's going to be some cover sacks, there's going to be a lot of hurried throws, they're going to lead the picks. I think this is going to be the game that you've been wanting to see.
National narratives take off after this one.
I think this is a game where, kind of piggybacking off of what Hood said, is that NFL coaching and play calling experience is going to help you here. Because, I mean, at the Apple Cup last year when we were yelling at Grubb and yelling at DeBoer with the offensive play calling, when you have a guy like Jed Fish and a guy like Brendan Carroll who have been in the NFL and know what these kinds of games are like in an NFL stadium, I think that is going to be something that will bode well for Washington's offense in this game.
Yep. All right. Any other final thoughts?
Fuck the Cougs. Caleb McGarry, EMFA.
Let's
go. Nick Harris, we don't lose to no Cougs.
We don't lose to no Cougs. I'm getting some donuts. Shout out Buddha Baker for being the donut is Apple Cup Food Week. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week to recap this one. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.